Alright, this is the Precalc Chapter 4A test taken on February 21st, 2020. This is the calculator section. Make sure to show all your work, leave all your answers in simplest radical form, or box your answers. Question number 1 is multiple choice. It tells you, use a calculator to find the approximate value of the expression rounded to 2 decimal places, cosecant of 31 degrees. Your calculator does not have cosecant, but you do have the reciprocal identities. Cosecant of theta equals 1 over sine. They're telling you that your theta, your angle, is 31 degrees. So wherever I have theta, I can write 31 degrees. So here's my calculator ready equation, 1 over sine of 31. If you put that into your calculator, make sure your calculator is in degree mode, not radians. Don't have a graphing one with me right now, but we'll just use this. Mine has a D right there for degrees, so I'm going to type in sine of 31. And I get that decimal, and then I'm going to type in 1 divided by that number. Some of your calculators will have an inverse button, 1 divided by x. I don't see that in mine. So my calculator can do this. Oh, should have done that. 1 divided by sine of 31. Gives you 1.94, or you could have just done 1 divided by 0.5150. And then you would have gotten the same answer, 1.94. And that would be letter choice C. Question number 2. A 16-foot ladder rests against the side of the house. So you are going to need some common sense that the ladder is not like parallel. It's so tall it kind of needs a slant, right? So this is 16 feet tall. This is the house. And the base of the ladder is 4 feet away. The bottom of the ladder is 4 feet away from the house. A 16-foot ladder rests against the side of the house, and the base of the ladder is 4 feet away from the house. Approximately how high above the ground is the top of the ladder? So if you already know this distance, they just want us to find this distance. Now, if you think to yourself, you have a right triangle, the house and the ground are perpendicular right triangles. So I notice in this problem it doesn't tell us any angles, so I'm not going to be using SOHCAHTOA. I'm not going to be using trig. I'm not going to use this because I don't have any given angles. Here they have asked me to find how high this is. So I have two sides of a right triangle. I can use the Pythagorean theorem. The hypotenuse is across the right angle. That's my C value. 16 squared is 256. The base, it doesn't matter A or B, I called it A. 4 squared is 16. If you subtract 16, you get x squared equals 240. And we take the square root of 240. You will get 15.5 feet is your answer. Question number 3. Find the length of the arc on a circle of radius intercepted by a central angle. Round your answers to 2 decimal places. So this is a central angle. And when it says intercepted, the arc length, we're telling you from these 2 radius, it intercepts the arc of the circle from here to here. So basically they want to know, find the arc length. Let's call it x, or arc. So I gave you guys a proportions. Degrees over 360 is equal to the arc divided by the circumference. part over whole equals part over whole. Your radius is 60. So the circumference is 2 pi r. So your radius is 60. And the central angle is, in degrees, 20. I changed 360 to be 20 times 180. So I can cancel these and I get 1 over 18. I can cross multiply. So I have 18 times the arc equals 2 pi times 60. I'm going to divide both sides by 18. And when you put that into your calculator, I get this as my answer, and I'll press S to D, and I get 20.94, which is choice C. Question number 4. Convert the angle to degrees, minutes, and seconds form. Round the answer to the nearest second. This is a whole degree, 14, and this is part of a degree. In 1 degree, there is 60 minutes. So I multiply these two and get 55.8. Again, this is my degrees, this is my minutes, and this is my seconds. So the decimal, I take 0.8 times 60 because there are in 1 minute 60 seconds. So this partial of a minute is converted to seconds. This gives me 48. So 14 minutes, 14 degrees, 55 minutes, 48 seconds is my answer. That would be choice C. So that side was worth 2 points apiece. Backside. In order to measure the height of Rebel Alliance Mountain, Darth Vader measures the angle of elevation to the summit to be 14.5 degrees. So Darth Vader, she is standing here. And here is my mountain. This is Rebel Alliance Mountain. This is Ram. She then moves 32 feet away and measures the angle of elevation to be 4.5 degrees down to the top. Round to the nearest whole mile, how tall is Rebel Alliance Mountain? So the first thing I did is I drew one triangle. Looks like this. The second thing I'm going to do is separate into two triangles. So I have 14.5 degrees, H and X. And then the big triangle, so this is the small. Let's see if I can color code that for you. This is the green. And this is the big, the yellow one. Okay, so as I go around, I'm going to say H, X plus 32, and then 4.5 degrees. In my two triangles, I'm going to solve for height. Solve for H. Opposite over the adjacent. Tangent of 14.5 equals H over X. I'm going to multiply both sides by X to eliminate this X here. And I get height to be X times tangent of 14.5 degrees. That's one equation. The second one says tangent of 4.5 equals the opposite over the hypotenuse, H over 32 plus X. Put these parentheses around here. I'm just going to cross multiply. So H times 1 and 32 plus X quantity times tangent of 44.5. Okay, so here you can set this equation or this equation equal to each other. Here's a common mistake over the years is that 32 and X are separated by addition. So if you did something like this, 3 times X plus Y, you would get 3X plus 3Y, not 3X, 3Y. See the difference there? This one has multiplication. This one has addition. Common mistake there. And now they're both equal to h, so I can set them equal to each other. Right? Anytime I see h, I can write all that. I see h right there. You can put it all right there. I distribute the tangent of 45. So tangent of 45 times x tan 45. Tan 45, 4.5 times 32 gives me 32 times tangent 4.5. What you've done here is now, since you've substituted, you basically eliminated the row by substitution. You solved the linear systems by substitution, something that Math 3 students are learning right now. You're going to get the x's together to solve for x. You subtract x tangent 4.5, x tangent 45, this equals 0. You're left with this number. You could evaluate this number at this time, but I like to leave it all at the end for my calculator ready equation. Right here, calculator ready equation down there. Okay. Common mistake is to try to subtract tangent 14.5 and tangent 4.5 degrees. They are not like terms. So here I'm going to take out a GCF, greatest common factor of an x. Again, don't try to subtract those. I'm going to take this whole thing and divide it away so that I can solve for x. This whole thing will cancel, and it's just multiplying all this divided by all this. And there's my calculator ready equation. X equals 32 tangent 4.5 over tangent 14.5 degrees minus tangent 4.5 degrees. Let me show you how to put that in the calculator. 32 tangent 4.5, and you'll get 2.51, which I have there. And then here, let's see if this calculator can handle it. So you're basically evaluating two separate ones. And you get 0.1799, and then you divide those two numbers, and you'll get 13.998. Now, pay attention. This number, which is approximately 14, I'm not rounding it, goes here. But you're trying to solve for height, not x. So I'm going to take this equation, and lastly I'm going to solve for h. X tangent 14.5 equals h. We just solved for x there. Put that into your calculator, and you'll get 3.62 miles, and then you're rounding to the nearest total, so that would be about 4 miles. If you got 3.62 miles, I may have given you like 3.75. If you found x equals 3.998, probably something similar, 3.5 or 3.75. Now this problem is only worth 4 points, even though it was the longest problem in the test. And then the extra credit is, what is the acronym? APA, Academically and Personally Accountable. And then one of my first jobs was Jamba Juice, or the librarian page. If you said smoothie, I give you a +1. So that side was only worth 4. So 8, 4, and 2. So this side was 14. So then you add your scores together, and it's out of 42. Basically, I gave you 10% in your grade just for writing your name and period on both of those. That's 4 out of 42 and an extra credit question. So hopefully that was helpful for you. Good luck.